everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. Before we continue, if you have not yet, you can watch our video from last week on Michael Rasmussen and his development update, basically, but we just gush about him the entire video. It's like 10 minutes of us just loving on Rasmussen, so yeah, it's a good watch. Today we're going to talk about Amadeus Lombardi, who was just signed to an entry-level contract with the Detroit Red Wings from the Flint Firebirds. He's only 19 years old, and we will tell you why he has caught their eye in our estimations. Oh,
she rhymed.
Rhyming. Before we continue, before we keep continuing, if you could like, comment, and subscribe, that really helps us out, just to know what you guys want to see. If you want to comment on some stuff that maybe you want us to talk about, that would be great. We're always thinking of new things to talk about and trying to figure out what you guys want us to talk about to you. So if you would comment below on some of those suggestions, that would be amazing. And let's get into it.
Yeah, so Lombardi was a fun one. Like, not a far one. He's fun. But he was just drafted this last season. So the fact that they've already signed him to an ELC is pretty impressive. And a lot of that has to do with his point production. So he's currently with the Flint Firebirds with the OHL. He was there last season where he tallied 59 points in 74 games played. This season so far, 31 games as of this recording, he's already at 44 points. So he's one of the top for scoring and production, especially with that specific team. Mm-hmm. So obviously he's going to be looking at, moving on a little bit quicker. And the Wings, I think that's kind of what they've noticed. He is smaller. He's 5'10", 165, not a meaty kid. But again, just 19. He's got plenty of time, but he's right now playing above where he's at, which is something that we always say that they have to do to get noticed.
Yeah, so one of the pros obviously would be his point production. And I think whenever I'm looking at Detroit Red Wings news and their prospects and the guys they've drafted, I'm always seeing Lombardi. And that's not a surprise considering if you watched any of our videos from when we went to Traverse City for the prospects tournament for the Red Wings, when they had those five teams that gather. Yep. 5 or 6.
Depends on the year.
When they had those teams gathering for the prospects tournament that we love to go see, Lombardi made a really good statement, I thought, in his production, in his play style. He was someone, I think in the video that we watched, that we were like, oh, we drafted that one? And it was kind of like a duh, Yeah. I always feel like we need to know everything, it's but true. Obviously we missed some stuff. But Lombardi, I was happy to see that he was one of the guys that we had drafted. Considering he comes out immediately and he can show his play style and his skill, it just shows it's a very natural thing for him to play good hockey. So that's always good to see. So the high point production is definitely, he's on, I think, the Red Wings radar, which explains the 3-year entry-level contract, which we've seen the Red Wings do. Sebastian Cosa's got that entry-level deal, and they're working with him now. He's in Toledo. He's been called up to the Griffins. He's kind of back and forth, and we've seen a couple of the Euros that we have signed to entry-level deals too. So why don't you explain a little bit what an entry-level contract means for the Red Wings, just for those who don't know?
So for those who don't know right now, so with Lombardi, for this example, he's staying with Flint until the end of his season. Typically, they do things under contract there sometimes too. So he's going to fulfill that, and an entry-level contract does not take effect until that team decides to move them to their pro club. So meaning once he gets to Grand Rapids, that is when his first year will start ticking away. So then from that point, they've got 3 seasons. If they're not happy with his production, not happy with where things are at, they can either move him or keep him, extend him, whatever. But the entry level, what that means is that they're just taking this young rookie player and putting him through the professional development system. If he decides to go to college, he's not a college commit. But if, let's say, he decided he wanted to go to the college, that would give the team 4 full seasons to then decide if they want to take the effect with that entry level, or if they just want to expunge it, basically. Yeah. So there's a couple caveats that go with it, but it's a big deal for these players because that means next step is pro. As soon as they hit pro ice, they're on track for the rest of the development.
19 is not too young at all to be in the AHL.
No.
We've seen plenty of guys who are just drafted start in the AHL and move on to the NHL. So it's not crazy to see. We've even seen plenty of guys at 19 go to the NHL. Yeah. So it wouldn't be crazy for him to go to the Griffins rather soon. And I kind of think that might be the case only because the Griffins have been struggling so much and have so much injury right now. So I feel like we kind of need as much help as we can get in the offensive category, which he could provide. One of the things to keep in mind would be because he is so much smaller and because the OHL can't really compare to the AHL in play style, ability, or anything like that, the transition period might be a little longer or might be a little more than expected as far as like what he's shown in Traverse City and what he's shown in the OHL, just because there's going to be a learning curve, but I think because of his high skill ability, I think that it won't be too scary for him. It'll just be something he has to adjust to, which is not unexpected for someone who's just coming to a pro league at 19 years old.
Right. That, and like, so if you put it in perspective too, we had Jonathan Berggren, who came from the SHL, which is a pro league.
Yeah.
But he is a smaller player now. He's doing just fine in Detroit. But when he came to Grand Rapids, that was something that he really had to adjust to. He had a first full season. He did well with production. He was great. But similarly, Lombardi is going to have to kind of tap into that and make sure that his high skill is the thing that keeps him out of trouble, keeps him from getting crushed.
Yeah.
And same thing like with Donovan Sabrango. Sabrango was pulled over from the OHL as well. Different position.
Prematurely, too, because he was probably not going to be over for a while, but then the shortened season made it so that he couldn't play in his club, so that he played with the AHL.
Yeah, and positionally, I mean, he's a little bit bigger, but positionally he's a defenseman, whereas Lombardi is a forward. Mm-hmm. That does change things, but all that to say that it is going to be a little bit of an adjustment. He might just take right off, which we'd love to see.
Yeah.
But being that he is on a smaller side, he does have to beef up a little bit. And
just to be able to fend off the huge guys that will come at him.
To keep up with the physical. Yeah. I mean, they are big dudes in the AHL, and they're not afraid to crush you. Nope. So just being able to learn how to even absorb a hit. Mm-hmm. You know, you might not have to be able to dish them out, but at least be able to safely absorb them so you can continue on. Yeah. So the speed of his progression and his transition, he's going to need a little time, and this likely won't take effect until next season. But I believe the OHL season ends the same time as the AHL. They have about the same amount of games. So it's unlikely he'll join Grand Rapids this season. But I mean, next season he's got the whole summer to work on that and start really plugging away at what he needs to do.
Yeah, and I guess we'll see. Stuff happens all the time where we're like, oh, okay, here it's starting. And, you know, you never know fully the behind the scenes of like why they choose to do what they do, when they do it. Mm-hmm. But in any case, whenever he comes, I think it's exciting to see because A, it's a new player and we always love new young blood on a team. Yeah. B, we're kind of crushed with injury right now. Even like Cross Hannes, who we were really excited to see, he's been out with injury. Yep. Of course, plenty of other guys who are out right now. But it would be nice to see someone like Lombardi on the team to give us some spark, some spunk, because it's been a tough go so far, so that would be great. Mm-hmm. So he's definitely got to work on, because of the transition from OHL to AHL, those are very different leagues. I mean, one is mostly your age, the other one is you're going to be mixed with a lot of tough guys. Yeah. The AHL is a hard league.
Swimming with goldfish, moving to swimming with sharks.
That's why even like AHL to NHL transition is so different, even though those are pretty, I mean, they're comparable, of course, but it's still very difficult to transition sometimes. So they're
the same but different, you know?
Yeah. I'd like to see him get the physical game, of course, and that stuff comes because I think sometimes you don't know what you need till you see what you're missing when you get to the new league, you know?
And I would like to point out, too, the fact that he's already been signed. I can't recall if you've mentioned this already, but he's been signed already the same season he was drafted. So Detroit,
which is, the
last couple of prospects we've seen get moved through the system have been very quick. And it almost kind of shows, not necessarily desperation, but I do think that we are getting just pummeled with injuries at both levels. So they have to kind of backstock for the next season. But showing that we do not want to waste these spurts. When these players are hot, you take them when you can. Yep. And I really like that the development pattern that we're seeing instead of waiting 3-4 seasons to go, okay, let's see if he really fits.
Well, even like you said with Berggren. Berggren was drafted a little while ago, but he's already playing in the NHL. And maybe that was because there was more injury than was expected and he got his push. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he shows to be ready and them doing it. And now they see he's doing great. Right. And I think that he will stay forever.
Yeah, they could have chosen a veteran in that situation. Yeah. So, just where their mindset is, it seems like they're really, really trying to focus where, we always talk about...
Well, this guy's hot, let's get him now.
Yeah, we're always talking about development, but what better way to develop someone just, putting them in the situation where they have to either adapt or fail, and you'll find out real quick
and
which
I mean,
one
we've got other guys who we've drafted who are still in college, who are still going to finish that route, so they have to work around that too, to where they can't pull those guys prematurely because they're going to finish their college or, whatever. So I do think that even in the next season, our team is going to look very different. Yeah. We see so much turnover. As we've told you before, the AHL is a huge turnover league, and this is no different.
You can't get attached. Really.
So implications for Grand Rapids for the next season is I think we're going to be seeing a lot of recent draft picks, if you will, that are going to be developing through the system. So I don't know if you have anything else you want to add.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about how cool it would be to see Hannes and Lombardi play together.
That would be a lot of fun.
I think they both, and it's a shame that Hannes did get injured because he is, I think, similar in play style. And I think that's actually something we mentioned after Traverse City where they're both tenacious. They want the puck, they want the goal, and they'll do anything to get it, but they're both smaller guys. But Hannes, even when he was, not injured, he was making an incredible impact. I think Lombardi and him together would be really
and
cool.
once we've had kind of an off period in December just based on my job and how busy it is. So we weren't at a ton of games then, but we're hoping to get some interviews, and I know we've been saying this, but we're hoping to get some interviews for you guys to see them actually talk in them talk. So hopefully we can get some update on Hannah's injury and other injuries too for you. So that is basically our down low on Amadeus Lombardi. So if you have any comments on him, put them in the comments below. Clearly,
where they have a designated comment section.
That's where it is. Like, comment, subscribe as always, and let us know, again, if you have any suggestions of what you would like to hear from us, if you're curious about anything with the Red Wings organization or the Griffins or, the development of a certain player, just let us know. We'd be happy to investigate for you and see a little deeper into it because we have that ability. So, let us know in the comments, and thank you so much again for watching, and coming into the new year, Merry New Year, Happy New Year, all those things.
It's New Year.
And we will see you guys next time.
Actually, it might be next year.
I don't know if it's going to be next year. We'll see you guys.
Yeah, we'll see you eventually.
Bye.